This next yoga practice with your wheel is all about the shoulders. So all you're going to need is your wheel and your mat, and let's get started. Okay, we're going to have the wheel in your centre of the mat, and you're going to start sitting on the wheel. You're going to sit this way rather than forwards, okay? So just find your balance. Make sure your feet are at least hip width apart. That's going to give you plenty of stability. Hands on the knees. Let's work through some cat-cows. So draw your chest forwards. Now this feels quite different on the wheel because your sit bones are having to move a little bit, and then slowly scoop the back, pull your chest back. So inhale, lift, send your shoulders down the spine, lift your chin, exhale, draw back your belly buttons and the chin to the chest. Inhale back to centre, take the arms up and overhead. Let's exhale as we turn to the left, so you're finding a twist here. Inhale, raise the arms back to centre, exhale, turn to the right. Inhale back to centre. This time when you turn to the left, see if you can turn a little bit further, so draw that left shoulder back. Inhale back to centre, draw that right shoulder back. Inhale back to centre, and as you exhale this time, send the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers, draw the hands down as you open the chest, keeping your balance, send the arms away, and then release the hands. This time you're going to interlace your hands behind your back, but send both hands around to hook around the left side of your waist and look over your right shoulder. Release the hands around to the right side of your waist, look over the left shoulder. Release the fingers, take the hands to the back of the wheel and start to slide them down the wheel as your shoulders go back, chest up. Exhale, let's come back to centre. Now we're just going to start creeping the feet forwards as you send your bottom ever so slightly down. So we're looking to see if we can just lengthen out the legs, lengthen out the arms, almost leaning against your wheel here. Draw the spine long, and then bend the knees slowly so that you can hook your thumbs onto the wheel. We're going to make our way into a back bend. Now place your feet nice and firmly, at least hip width apart. We should be having the lower part of our spine onto the wheel now. Start to very slowly roll the spine up and down the wheel, allowing those shoulders to drop away. So you've got some options here to either just keep your thumbs on top of the wheel, and if you feel a little bit unstable, that's a good way to start. If you feel okay, you might want to take the arms up and overhead and just interlace them behind the head. What this does is allow you to drop that head in the cradle of your hands and start to roll a little bit further. So we'll all be in different places with our roll because it feels good on different parts of the body. Let's roll for a few more moments here. And then slowly bringing yourself back up. We're going to take ourselves on to our knees, holding the wheel. So this is a bit like camel pose, Ustrasana. So you come onto your knees, make sure you send your hips forward, so your hips want to be aligned on top of your knees, shoulders back, hold on to your wheel nice and firmly, and take the wheel up and overhead. Now squeeze your elbows in towards your head. So you don't want your elbows flopping out to the side, you want them squeezing into the head, and leave the upper arms where they are, but bend the elbows so the wheel comes behind your back. So that what's happening is you're dropping that wheel so it's between the shoulder blades. Now keep your hips pressing forwards, keep your elbows close in towards your head and extend arms. So continue to lengthen and drop. Now this is a really good targeted tricep exercise. Try to stay really stable throughout the body if you can. And then slowly take the wheel back to the mat. Just sink back onto your hips. Hips back onto your heels. Draw the hands behind your feet and send chest up. So you might well be finding that one in triangle, which is your upper parts of your arms. That's quite a strong exercise for that. So look over your left shoulder while you're here. And then look over your right shoulder. And then we're going to work a little bit of a bridge exercise, which is really good for, we often think of bridge being hips or even core, but this is targeting our shoulders. So having the wheel fairly close to you, as you take your spine down onto the mat, bring your feet flat onto the wheel. And we're going to hold on to, first of all, hold on to the wheel just so that you can lift up into a bridge. So when you feel comfortable in your bridge, you might feel okay to let go of that wheel, because what we want to be able to do now is slowly roll the legs along the wheel, keeping your hips up high if you can, and then roll the legs back. So the key here is lift the hips, but keep your shoulders tucked. Now, by all means, you can bring your hands together, because that brings a really good foundation for this stretch. So keep rolling through 4 or 5 times. And to release, keeping your hips high, release your fingers first, walk your shoulders back out and slowly lowering the spine to the mat. Bring the knees into the chest. Just lift your head up and hug your knees. Just gently rocking them from side to side. Taking the arms out nice and wide now. Bump both knees to one side of the body just to release through a twist. Inhale as you draw them back to centre. And then bump the legs to the other side, trying to keep those shoulders on the mat as best you can. Inhale them back to centre. Let's give those knees one last hug before we rock body back up to finish today's practice. Thank you once again. Namaste.